Hello, it's Siren. Welcome back. This is one of the most infamous mysteries, the unsolved murder of Tupac. Tupac was an American rapper and actor. He was one of the most loved rappers of all time. Sadly, he was cut down in his prime at just 25 years old. And to this day, we don't know who is behind his shocking murder. On September 7th, 1996, Tupac was riding in a car with his friends when they were ambushed by unknown assailants. This is what we know. The incident occurred at about 11:15 p.m. Suge Knight, CEO of Death Row Records, was driving the car. The motive for the shooting is still not clear, but it may have been related to a fight that happened 6 days before at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Tupac was in Suge's car with two other men. They were driving down the Las Vegas Strip when a white Cadillac pulled up alongside them. Someone inside the Cadillac opened fire, hitting Tupac several times. The white Cadillac sped off and Tupac was rushed to the hospital where he later died. What really shocked the world was that despite being wounded, Tupac actually returned fire. This is where things get confusing. Police reports state that witnesses heard gunshots coming from both vehicles and that a .40 caliber handgun was used. However, no shell casings were found in the vicinity. Also, according to Suge, the shots came from the left side of Tupac's car. But forensic experts say that if there was an automatic weapon in the car, the bullets would have gone through the left side of the car. They also noted that if Tupac was shooting back, it's unlikely that he would have missed because the people in the Cadillac were only 10 feet away. So how did Tupac return fire? Well, some believe that he didn't. Instead, it could have been a police officer in an unmarked vehicle. Or maybe it was Suge Knight. Let's take a look at each theory. Let's start with Suge Knight. He has always maintained that he didn't shoot Tupac, but some inconsistencies in his story have led many to believe that he's lying. The first thing that doesn't add up is that he initially told police that he didn't know who would want to hurt Tupac. Then, when he realized that the police were searching for Orlando Anderson, he suddenly had a memory lapse. He told the police that he wasn't sure if he saw the shooter clearly. In fact, he said that he couldn't even remember how the argument with Orlando started. Orlando's sister claimed that Suge was lying and that he knew exactly who shot Tupac. It was 7 years later that Suge finally admitted that the argument with Orlando began because of disrespect. Orlando and his friends approached Suge and questioned why he was talking to some rival gang members. Things got heated, and then all of a sudden Orlando threw the first punch. Orlando had thrown a punch at Suge when one of Suge's friends stepped in. As the fight broke out, Tupac got into the car. When the shooting started, Suge lost control and crashed into a pole. As they were waiting for the police, Suge tried to get Tupac to identify the shooters, but Tupac was too weak to respond. Suge claims that he never asked Orlando's name because he thought that the police would know who he was. Orlando Anderson died in 1998, which made Suge the prime suspect. But the case went cold. Despite the fact that Orlando was killed, the police never charged Suge because he had an airtight alibi. According to Suge, he was homesick with the flu on the night that Tupac was murdered. It seemed like the case would never be solved until Suge gave a bombshell interview. In February 2014, Suge confessed that he was involved in a shootout with Orlando's gang, but he denied killing Tupac. He said that someone else must have shot Tupac. Later that year in October, he named Compton gangster Dwayne Keith Davis as the one who killed Tupac. Davis denied these allegations and pointed his own finger at Orlando's brother, saying that he saw him pull the trigger. Davis was arrested in 2015 on suspicion of being an accessory to murder. But when the main witness failed to show up to testify against him, all charges were dropped. In 2018, Suge pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter for the 1993 killing of a rival gang member. He was sentenced to 28 years in prison. He was given 19 years for the second-degree murder of Terry and 9 years for the attempted murder of Orlando. These murders are unrelated to Tupac's death. The next person we need to look at is Orlando Anderson. He was the most obvious suspect, but unfortunately he's dead, so we can't question him. He was killed in a drive-by shooting while sitting in a car with 2 women and a child. As far as we know, Orlando wasn't involved in any gang activity, so it's hard to understand why someone would want him dead. Some think that it was revenge for the death of his brother, but others think that it was retaliation for him shooting Tupac. A lot of people believe that Suge Knight ordered the hit on Orlando, but this is never proven. There are many unanswered questions surrounding Orlando's death. For example, there were no witnesses and, strangely, Orlando's body was cremated without the consent of his family. Then there's the official suspect, Mutulu Rickert. He was a member of the Southside Crips. On March 13, 2002, Ricketts was arrested and charged with the murder of Tupac. The police believed that he was the one who pulled the trigger. It's hard to say what evidence the police had on him because the court proceedings were sealed. So we don't know if they had solid evidence or if it was just circumstantial. Whatever it was, the case against him was strong enough for a judge to rule that he was guilty. Ricky Taylor testified that on the night of the murder, he was in the car with 3 other men, including Kef and Orlando. He says that they drove up to Suji's car and Orlando fired a few warning shots into the air. Then he looked at Taylor and said, "Get me the big gun." Taylor handed over a Tech-9, a type of semi-automatic pistol. Orlando started firing at Suji's car. Taylor ducked down so that he wouldn't get shot. He claims that he heard about 4 to 6 shots, and then Orlando yelled, "I got him." After the shooting, they all drove back to their hotel. The next morning, Orlando told Taylor that he shot Tupac. Taylor refused to testify at the trial because he had a deal with the prosecutors that granted him immunity. So why did the police arrest Mutulu instead of the others? Was it because he was a Crip and the victim was affiliated with the Bloods? Or maybe it was because the prosecution offered him a plea deal. What do you think? Now let's talk about another theory. Some think that a rogue cop was responsible for Tupac's death. This sounds crazy, but hear me out. We know that cops often use excessive force. It wouldn't be surprising if an undercover cop was involved in the fight between Orlando and Suge. Then he could have alerted the other cops who were waiting nearby. As soon as the shooting started, they could have opened fire on Suge's car and then backed off once Tupac was down. This would explain why no shell casing was ever found. If the bullets came from the cops, then they probably planted the bullets. It would also explain why Suge returned fire. He was defending himself against the police. Unfortunately, there's no proof that this is true. And let's not forget that 2 other people were in the car with Tupac. They survived the shooting, but somehow lost their memory. They claim to have no recollection of what happened that night. It's strange that both of them lost their memories at the exact same time. It makes you wonder if maybe they were involved in something they didn't want to be a part of. Maybe they were pressured to take the stand and give false testimony. In the end, we may never know who shot Tupac. All of the suspects are dead. The main witnesses can't remember anything, and most of the evidence has gone missing. The only people alive who were present during the shooting are Suge and the 2 other men in the car with Tupac, but they refused to cooperate with the investigation. One thing is for sure, Tupac was an innocent man who was cut down in his prime. He was a legend who will never be forgotten. Let me know in the comments. Who do you think killed Tupac? If you want to see more videos like this one, like, comment, and subscribe. With that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.